if there ever was a welcome for somebody who deserved that kind of a welcome, that was it. So I want to recognize we have Congressman Ed Perlmutter here, one of the great leaders the state's ever had, and Ken Salazar and his wife Hope are here. And this is an auspicious time to have the first woman candidate for President of the United States. You bet. This is 2 days after Colorado's 140th birthday. And you know what I always say? I say 140 is the new 40. So I want to just take a couple of quick minutes, and I found, there's a wonderful book that came out 20-some years ago, and it includes the Cowboys Code of Ethics. And I was looking through this, it's kind of 10 rules to live by, and I just couldn't help but be struck by how closely Secretary Clinton fulfills that code of ethics and how poorly Donald Trump fulfills that code of ethics. I'll just pick a few because I don't want to go through the whole list, but one of them is, the fourth code is be tough but fair. Does anyone think Donald Trump's been fair to anyone? The sixth code is when you make a promise, keep it. That means you don't change your mind when the circumstances suit you. The seventh brand, and one of the most important ones, the seventh code, is ride for the brand, which by that they mean don't do things just for yourself. Do it for the country, right? Ride for the brand. Number 8, talk less, say more. Donald Trump is the opposite of that. And then my favorite, remember that some things are not for sale. And Donald Trump does not get that yet. Hillary Clinton knows that as strong as the economy is in Colorado, and we've had 8 years of a growing economy after almost an economic catastrophe, we've got a lot of work to do to make sure that everybody can find good-paying jobs. She understands that better, I think, than any elected official I've talked to. Her plans really do call for really bold investments, investments into infrastructure, into manufacturing, to make sure that we can, in these United States, make the next, if you're going to look at clean energy, we need to be the next, renewable energy, clean energy superpower. And she recognizes that we need to focus on getting rid of the red tape that keeps entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs from starting businesses. We got to make sure there are incentives and the taxation is appropriate to encourage small businesses to take that leap and get out there and start that next business that starts the next job. And I was one of those guys. I understand what it takes, and I again have not known or met or talked to someone who understands the details of what it's going to take as much as Hillary Clinton. She understands, and again, the first time we sat down and we spent a little over an hour together, I don't think I've ever met a governor or a senator or a congressman, any elected official that understands the importance of policy details, has spent her life really working on how to solve problems, how to make this country better than Hillary Clinton. She supports innovation so that these small businesses, and even as they grow into larger businesses so they can thrive, that innovation drives that growth of small businesses. She understands that bureaucracy and red tape sometimes slow that growth down. She has really looked at how do you begin to cut, how do you cut red tape without reducing the important regulations to make sure we have a fair system for everybody, right? That we protect our environment, we protect those things that create our quality of life. She understands that moving forward consistently and strongly is a much stronger way to go than the reckless approach that Donald Trump continues to point. We cannot afford to give the reins of our economic stagecoach to someone as reckless as Donald Trump. We need someone, a proven leader, who does ride for the brand. And the brand is this country, right? It's the United States of America. And I want to quote somebody who knows something about what he's talking about, because I was trying to figure out some way I could say it better and fresher. But there really isn't a better way to say it. So you might remember last week, Barack Obama gave a pretty remarkable speech. And in that speech, he said, "There has never been a man or a woman, not me, not Bill, who is more qualified to be president than Hillary Clinton. I give you the next president of the United States, Hillary Clinton."
Hello. Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. I am delighted and thrilled to be here with all of you. I want to say hello to the overflow crowd who couldn't get in. We're going to have to look for some bigger spaces when we come here to Colorado. And it's great to be here with your governor. I am such a fan of Governor Hickenlooper for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is because he does understand how we can create more jobs. And what's happened here in Colorado under his leadership proves that. And he has used his own experience as a small businessman who grew a business and was successful, not to turn his back on what it took, but to try to help more people get the tools they need to start those businesses, to grow those businesses. And what a stark contrast with Donald Trump, who has spent his career stiffing small businesses, refusing to pay his bills to small businesses. And I got to tell you, I take that really personally. My father was a small businessman. I mean, really small, nothing as successful as the governor's enterprises. He printed fabrics to turn them into draperies. And it was hard work. And I cannot imagine what it would have been like for my dad, who stood at that long table and took a silk screen and put it down and then put paint into it, then took a squeegee and went across and then lifted it up and went down over and over again, and finally got the fabric printed, and then folded it up and then loaded it into his car to take it to where it had been ordered from, whether it was a restaurant, a hotel, any other business, an office building. I cannot imagine what that would have felt like for my father, a Navy veteran, a chief petty officer during World War II, to have done his part, to have fulfilled his contract, and then be told, "We're not going to pay you." Now, when I first started hearing those stories about small businesses, I thought, well, maybe it happened once or twice. But no, my friends, it happened over and over again. Donald Trump would not pay people who did work, painters and plumbers and glass installers and marble installers and architects. We now have a very long list. What kind of man does business by hurting other people? I am just so determined that we are not going to let him do to America what he has done to so many other people. Now, when I think about our convention last week, did any of you see it? Well, what we tried to do was to make clear that we're not satisfied with where we are in the country, but we think we know how to make progress together. We think we can put into effect a jobs program that will create millions of new jobs with rising incomes. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to have the biggest infrastructure investment program since World War II. And if you look, our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, our ports, our airports, our water systems, they're all in need. They all should be repaired. We have people who are driving long distances and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars every year because of problems with the potholes or with the lack of maintenance. We have people scared about the bridges in their counties. They don't have much choice, but they shouldn't have to worry about whether they can get across or not. So we're going to make investments that will make America grow our economy, put people to work, and position us better to actually be competitive around the world. But there's a lot of infrastructure that you can't necessarily see that we want to work on. We need a modern electric grid that can take clean, renewable energy and distribute it everywhere across America. And here's the other thing we need. We need to connect every community, no matter how isolated, how rural, how inner city poor, no matter where it is. Every community needs to be connected to broadband internet access. This is a competitive issue. How are we going to help small businesses that don't have access? When I was in Pennsylvania a few days ago, and I said that, I had a man tell me afterwards, he said, well, you have no idea how bad it is in rural parts of Pennsylvania. We still have dial-up, and a lot of time that doesn't even work. And then I told folks that I'd been talking to some teachers. You know, I love teachers, and I'm going to support our teachers. But here is what the teachers told me. They said there had recently been a national survey asking teachers about, different things they do in the classroom and the like. And 70% of teachers said that they assign homework to their students that requires the students to go on the internet. Now, I think that's great because we want our kids to be ready for the jobs of the future, and that means they've got to understand how to learn and find information. But here's the rub. 5 million kids in America don't have access to internet in their homes. So you know what? We are leaving those kids behind while they're still in elementary and secondary schools. That is wrong. We're going to make sure America, which invented the internet, is the most connected country in the world. And here's what else we're going to do. I'm going to support advanced manufacturing of all kinds, because I believe that we've got a real opportunity to bring manufacturing back. I visited a place called Johnstown Wire Technologies in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. They started more than 100 years ago as a steel mill. Now they're making all kinds of wire products, and they're starting to bring jobs back from China to do that work in America. Now, when Donald Trump is asked about where he makes things. He makes them anywhere else but America. You know, his ties, his suits, his shirts, his furniture, his barware, made all over the world, Bangladesh, Turkey, Slovenia, Mexico. And when asked about that, he said, well, we don't make that stuff in America. Well, I'm here to tell you, Donald, you're wrong. And here's how I know. I know he's wrong because I've been collecting information and visiting places that actually do make these things in America. Just today, I went to the Naughty Tie Company. And I met folks living right here in Denver who are making ties and scarves. I hope you like this one because I got it at Naughty just a few hours ago. I just got interviewed by one of the local newscasters, and first thing he said to me, he didn't even know that this was from Naughty. He said, that's a beautiful scarf. He said, that looks like it's got Colorado colors. And in fact, one thing I really like about it is printed right here on the scarf. It says, made in Colorado, not China. So I got so into this that we now have a website, went public today, called HillaryClinton.com/makeithere. And you can go on the website and you can see about 100 places around America where Donald could have made ties, shirts, suits, furniture, barware, right here in America. And I hope that more people will start making things here in America again. So we are going to work to grow the economy. And I look often at Denver and Colorado as examples. And it's another one of the reasons why I admire your governor. The transit system in Denver, combined with the new airport, connecting not only Denver to the airport, but other places in the region, is growing this economy. And very importantly, it's attracting a lot of young people who want to be able to quickly move from work to home to entertainment and everything else. So we see this happening in lots of places. And so when people say to me, hey, we can't do that in America, I said, I don't know which America you've been looking at. In fact, I couldn't figure out what country the Republican convention was talking about. A negative, pessimistic view of America. That is not who we are. Do we have challenges? Sure, but can we meet them? Absolutely. We are truly stronger together, and that's what we're going to be doing. Now, in addition to growing the economy, we've got to make it fairer. And I feel very strongly about this. We got to make this economy work for everybody, not just those at the top. So we are going to make these investments. We are going to invest more in education, starting with preschool education. We are going to train 50,000 teachers so that they can teach computer science in junior high and high school. We are going to make college debt-free so that everybody can afford to go. And we're going to make community college free so you can get the skills you need for the jobs of today and tomorrow. And I want to say something really serious about this. John and I have talked about this a lot. Look, I think it's great. Everybody who wants to go to college should be able to afford to go to college. Anybody with student debt, we're going to help you refinance the debt, because in America, if Donald Trump can plead bankruptcy 6 times and refinance his debts, American students and families ought to be able to refinance their debts. But my friends, I do not believe that a 4-year college education is the only path that we should have to a good job with a rising standard of living. That's why I want more technical education back in our high schools. That's why I want more apprenticeship programs and business and unions. I get very excited about this because there are more than 1 million jobs right now waiting to be filled by machinists and tool and die makers, by people with real skills, coders, who can get a good job. When I was at Johnstown Wire Technology, it's a unionized plant. The U.S. Steel workers represent that plant's workers, and they get some people already trained, and then the union and management train others, and the average salary is over $70,000 a year. We are also going to raise the national minimum wage because no one who works full-time should still be living in poverty. And I'll tell you, the fastest way we can raise incomes in America is to guarantee equal pay for women's work. And you know, I'm encouraged. When I started talking about this more than a year ago, I could see kind of quizzical looks out in the audience. And then I realized, you know, I got to explain, this is not just a woman's issue. If you have a working mother, wife, daughter, or sister, it's your issue. I believe with all my heart that America's best years are still ahead of us. Now, that doesn't mean that I think it's going to be easy. You know, But I know we're up to the job. I just know we are. I have no doubt about that. And we're also up to the responsibility of leading the world toward peace and prosperity as well. There is no doubt in my mind that Donald Trump is unqualified to be president and unfit to be commander-in-chief. Anyone who spends his time insulting our military, demeaning the service of our POWs and our fallen soldiers, insulting Gold Star families, this is not someone who understands the honor, the duty of serving America. I am so grateful to every single person who's ever put on the uniform of the United States military. And it worries me, some of what I hear him say. I mean, anyone who can be provoked by a tweet should not be anywhere near nuclear weapons. And I will take on the gun lobby for common sense gun safety reform. One of the things I said Thursday night, which I will repeat here, because I want you to know this. I do not want to repeal the Second Amendment. I do not want to take anyone's gun away. I just don't want you to get shot by somebody who shouldn't have a gun in the first place. So we've got great work to do, and I'm excited about doing it with you, because I do want you to know what I want to do as your president, to weigh that. It's like a big job interview. You're hearing from two people that you might hire. And I frankly think it's better for us to have an economy where you hear you're hired instead of you're fired. So Colorado, let's get to work. Let's win in November, and let's make sure we build an American future that we all can be part of. Thank you, and God bless you.